I'm here with Linda Peavy, a Black founder who has secured 17 million in funds and offers free grant writing training to organizations in need. How are you doing today, Linda?
I'm doing fantastic, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. Let's just start at the beginning. How did you get into grant writing?
Absolutely. So I have been the founder of my organization for 13 years, LaPov Consulting, and we provide three different areas: marketing, communications, grant writing, and then literary agency. However, before I became an entrepreneur, I was a publishing executive with an organization that was affiliated with a denomination, and I was director of marketing. And so I have about 25 years of experience in marketing. And with marketing, you are telling a story, you're writing persuasive narrative. And that's where my foundation was started in being able to write and communicate effectively. When I retired from Judson Press and started my own company, I was asked to become the executive director of a small nonprofit. And in that role, I literally had to fund the organization. So I had to end up writing grants for my own salary. So that's where the grant writing started and just took off from there. So once I left the nonprofit, because I was able to utilize those skills, I realized that it was a very sought after industry and that there were so many worthy nonprofit organizations that needed grant writing. And so it actually became the core of my business through LaPop.
Definitely. What would you say are the main tasks that, being a grant writer involves?
Well, number one, you have to be able to tell a story. You have to be able to tell a story well. You're working with nonprofits. Every nonprofit has a mission and a vision, and it's all about telling the story of what they're trying to accomplish through their work. So you have to be a great storyteller. You have to obviously be a great writer, a great communicator. But first and foremost, you have to be able to develop partnerships and relationships with organizations. That's one of the number one areas that I teach in my grant writing, is that it's not just about writing the grant application. You have to be able to develop a relationship with the funder, and that can be done through simply setting up meetings so that there's an introductory opportunity to share the work that you're doing with the foundation or with the funder.
Most definitely. And I was wondering, how has COVID-19 specifically affected, grant writing?
That's a really, really great question. So everything changed with COVID-19. So before COVID-19, it was unheard of for a for-profit to get a grant, right? So most grants went to 501c3 nonprofit organizations. However, because there were so many for-profits that were destroyed, that were in need of assistance, so many of the foundations and the corporations shifted their funding to not only include not your typical 501c3 nonprofit, but also to for-profits. So now, in the environment that we're in, there's more money available to for-profits through grants than ever before. That was one aspect. The other aspect is that with the current racial environment, diversity, equity, and inclusion is huge. So you have foundations all over the country that have literally shifted a significant amount of their money in the area of racial equity. So whereas before it was very hard to get dollars if you were maybe producing a program or running an operation where it was all about inclusion and diversity, now your chances are greater than ever to receive funding in that area because there's been an awakening through foundations so that much more of their funding is being sent to especially the smaller nonprofits that are in this particular area of racial equity and inclusion. So it's a good thing all around in terms of the effects of COVID-19. This is one area where we've actually seen a benefit because of this pandemic. It has absolutely created far more opportunities for nonprofits and for-profits to get funded.
Most definitely. And I was wondering, did it change the way you interact with clients? Because obviously, I know, for a while there wasn't a lot of in-person meetings. Was it more communicating with them via Zoom and via Skype?
Sure, everything I do predominantly is through online communications. And no, it hasn't affected the way in which I communicate at all. I still work directly one-on-one with clients. We use Zoom. I use Zoom multiple times a day. It's so important to be able to communicate with the client, even if it's online, but also going back to those relationships that need to be built with foundations. Zoom, absolutely Zoom. I can't tell you how many times setting up that meeting with that foundation through a Zoom link where it's me and it's my client who typically is the executive director of their nonprofit. And then you have the foundation. And the three of us are on a Zoom and we're talking about the importance of the projects and the programs that are being implemented by that particular organization. And it works. And one of the other key elements that I try to stress as much as I can to nonprofit organizations: create a video that tells a story about your mission and what you're doing. That can include testimonials, that can include different programs that have been effective. And that video then becomes a showcase as a part of that online Zoom meeting where we're sharing information about the organization. So the Zoom aspect of it can be just as effective as if you're meeting in person. Because at the end of the day, I work with nonprofits across the country. I work with foundations across the country. There's no reason for me to have to fly to California in order to meet a program director if that foundation's mission isn't aligned with one of my clients.
And you've worked with some very impressive clients from the Miss America organization to the Biden for President campaign. I was just wondering, what skills are needed to be a professional grant writer?
So the work that I've done with those particular organizations are in the area of marketing communications. That's part of the work that I do through LaPav Consulting. So with the Biden for President campaign, that was all about being able to communicate effectively and work within minority engagement. So a lot of my background has been formed through my work with faith-based organizations, with religious organizations, all within the minority community. And so that was very helpful for me when I was referred to work on the Biden for President campaign. I was on the national faith engagement team where I was working on the Souls to the Pose campaign. So that entailed a lot of communicating with various churches and organizations, then the state campaigns across the country. With the Miss America organization, I served as their PR booking agent. So my job was to raise the level of visibility for, at that time, Nia Franklin, who was the Miss America 2019, and she was African American. And so again, my background in working within the community, within a minority community, within minority engagement, and also having a PR marketing background, served me well in reference to the work that I did with the Miss America organization. So the background, the marketing, the communication pieces, they're core. And that ability to communicate has only served me well within the grant writing, because again, that's all about being able to communicate well and to tell a story.
That's really incredible, Linda. I'm very impressed. I see that you offer in-depth online course. How can people and stuff learn grant writing?
Absolutely. So it is impossible for me to help all of the nonprofits that need grant writing help. I do have an organization, I do take on clients, but there are thousands of nonprofits that need help. So in my giving back to the community, I provide a free webinar, a free grant writing webinar that really takes you through the 3 keys that are important in being able to grant write and grant write well. And so I offer that webinar right now. It's available if you go through my website, www.lapav.com, LIPAV.com. Then you would be able to link and get access to the free webinar. But in addition to that, if you really need step-by-step help, if you truly want to learn how to write grants, then I would highly recommend that you take my grant writing course. it's, my 13 years of grant writing rolled into one phenomenal online course. And literally, I have put my heart and soul into it. There's over 30 lessons, there's video, there are the actual curriculum, there's downloadables. I provide examples of real proven grants, right, in this course, so that not only am I teaching you how to write, I'm showing you what it should look like. I also include over 400 funders. So this particular list is including foundations that give funding to a number of different areas, from ex-offender programs to youth development to veterans organizations to education. It's all rolled up into one course that's called Grant Writing for Non-Writers, because I know most people are not professional writers. So I take them step by step in this grant course and really show them what they need to do before they even prepare themselves to write grants, during the grant writing portion, and then afterwards. And I even throw in a writing course, because if you're not a good writer, you need to be able to know how to write well. So included in this course is a little mini course that teaches you some of the basic elements of writing. And so there's about $1,600 worth of materials into the course. And right now it's $199. So I'm basically like giving it away so that people can really use the information and learn how to write so that they can help sustain their nonprofits. I'm a fan of nonprofits. I think what they're doing is just absolutely amazing. I've worked with so many small, tiny organizations that are doing phenomenal work. But again, the for-profits as well. I'm a for-profit. I've used my own skills to raise grant money for my own company. So I know it can be done. Whether you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, this course is absolutely going to be of service to you. And again, if you go to my website, lapav.com, you'll get a lot more information about it. I just highly recommend people who really want to secure additional funding for their organizations, learn how to do it. It's a skill you'll have forever, to really consider taking the course.
That's incredible, Linda. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And again, they can go to lapav.com, LIPAV.com. Thank you so much, Ryan. This has been fantastic.
You're welcome.